Hi, welcome to Todd's Tips. I'm Todd Barsness of Full-Time Voiceover Talent, and Todd's Tips is a feature of VO Marketing Pro. Now, if you'd like more information about VO Marketing Pro or anything else related to voiceover, just visit our Facebook page, website, or contact us via email. The links are located here. So we're doing Todd's Tips. That's the name of this video and a bunch of videos. But for months now, we've been doing something called Todd's Do's and Don'ts underneath the umbrella of Todd's Tips. And so we're going to have another do today. But first, as we always do, I always provide these caveats on our screen so that you can just take a step back, don't feel pressure, just think, just evaluate, apply as best as you can. I think there's always something to apply, to think about, to challenge you. But maybe there are some things you have to take into account, like, hey, I'm just getting started. You're in your almost 14th year. That makes sense. Hey, I'm 22 years old and you're 63 years old. Hey, live here and I live here. So all of those things I understand. They have a bearing on who you are, what you're doing, and things like that. But it shouldn't have so much of a bearing on just listening and applying some of these things. So that's what I want you to do. So here's my do for today. I do work on my VO craft. I do work on my VO craft, but not with a coach. I do work on my VO craft, but not with a coach. I have a 7-segment VO pyramid of success that I use to run my VO business life. 7-segment, as it builds its way up, pyramid of success. Want to know where the actual craft of being a VO actor fits in my mind?
Last.
At the very top. Yep. In other words, the craft of being a VO talent in a priority list is last in my mind. Now, don't get me wrong. Honing your craft as a VO artist is critical. And I don't mean that you leave it until the last thing you do, the last thing you work on. But in a logical sense, in a building block sense, it follows the 6 other building blocks of the pyramid. For me, that's how I built my business. Let me say 2 things, and I could talk a lot about the pyramid, and someday I'll unveil all of the blocks of it. But I have never, ever used a single VO coach for the craft end of my business. In fact, I've really only hired I paid for one one-on-one coaching session, and that was giving me a gig review of my Fiverr account. Mm-hmm. Second, I am an observer, applier, learner. I don't know if that's a technical thing. I've heard people are different types of learners. For me, I call it a observer, applier, learner. I'm very good at hearing how to do something or watching someone do something and then applying it to my business. Now, maybe you aren't the same and you need a coach. Fine. Don't get upset that I don't use coaches, at least to this point in my career. Although I do wish people wouldn't so quickly rush in to getting coaching. That's what I do wish they would do, is just slow down, think, and vet coaches. For me, I've worked on my craft of voiceover by doing voiceover work. I earn while I learn. By hearing other VO talent, by getting feedback on scripts or on live directed sessions. Now, this is heresy in today's VO coaching saturated world, but that's how I do it. And that's how I think about it. I think about my craft in a logical sense, being the last of 7 steps, if you will, in a logical sense of the priority for my voiceover business. And it served me well for myself. Maybe you're somewhat different. But again, just as I said at the beginning, take some time to think about these things and just evaluate them. If you think I'm wrong, it's fine. If you're successful doing things a different way, good on you. I know there's lots of ways to skin the old VO business cat, but for me, that's how I've done it. And I just want people who maybe are more like me, or at least willing to think about these things, not to get in a rut, because the industry has a rut that everybody kind of runs in. Yeah, it's a worn path that's comfortable, and you get kudos for it. And if you get off of it, you get told, get back on it. Or you're not going to be invited to VO conferences. You're not going to speak at VO conferences. You're not going to be on the popular kids, the popular voiceover, their podcasts. You're not going to be interviewed by the big ones, and you're going to be patronized and looked down on if you do it a certain way. And so just understand that, and I just want people to know that there is another option.
Thanks a lot for joining me for Todd's Tips. And if you'd like more information about VO Marketing Pro or anything else related to VO, the links are listed here.